Stop looking at Hollywood. Forget the Kardashians. In fact, forget everything you think you know about rich. In the West, a billionaire might buy a private island to hide from the world. But in India, the Ambani family doesn't hide. They simply reshape reality to fit their needs. We are looking at a level of wealth that makes the British royal family look like they're on a budget. We are talking about a family that hires Rihanna for a rehearsal dinner. A family that builds an entire international airport just because they have guests coming over for the weekend. You saw Mark Zuckerberg, the man who owns the digital lives of 3 billion people, standing there looking genuinely starstruck by a watch on Anant Ambani's wrist. That singular moment tells you everything. When the tech gods bow down, you know you're dealing with a different kind of power. This isn't just money, it is the return of the Maharaja. And today, we are stepping inside their walls. To understand the mindset of Mukesh Ambani, you have to start with the house, if you can even call it that. Rising out of South Mumbai's Altamount Road like a Jenga tower made of steel and ego stands Antilia. It is the most expensive private residence on Earth, valued at over $2 billion. Most billionaires spread their estates out horizontally. The Ambanis went vertical. 27 stories, high ceilings that make it the equivalent height of a 60-story skyscraper. And here is the statistic that breaks the brain. This entire structure, this vertical city, is built for just 6 people. Inside, it is a logistical marvel that borders on science fiction. It requires a staff of 600 people to operate. Chefs, engineers, plumbers, and security personnel working around the clock to maintain the illusion of perfection. There are hanging gardens that absorb the Mumbai heat. There is a private theater that seats 50. There are 3 helipads on the roof, because in Mumbai traffic, time is the only thing you can't buy, unless you fly over it. But the true flex is the snow room. In a city where the humidity clings to you like a second skin, the Ambanis have a room that blasts artificial snowflakes from the walls. They can create a winter wonderland in the middle of a tropical heat wave. And then there is the garage. 6 entire floors dedicated to automobiles. This isn't a parking lot, it's a museum. 168 cars, Maybachs, Bentleys, Rolls-Royces. It even has its own dedicated service center on the 7th floor. Because when you are an Ambani, you don't take your car to the mechanic, you bring the mechanic to the sky. If Antilia is where they live, the weddings are how they announce their dominance. In 2024, the world witnessed the wedding of Anant Ambani and Radhika Merchant, but calling it a wedding is an insult. It was a 5-month-long geopolitical summit disguised as a party. It started in Jamnagar. This isn't a tourist hub, it's an industrial town where Reliance operates the world's largest oil refining complex. The family transformed this dust and steel into a utopia. They built a glass palace virtually overnight to host the festivities. The guest list read like a meeting of the Illuminati. Bill Gates, Ivanka Trump, the CEO of Google, the CEO of Disney, they all flew in. And because the local airport couldn't handle the traffic of hundreds of private jets, the Ambanis effectively renovated the airport and staffed it with their own people. For a few days, the Indian Air Force granted the airport international status just to accommodate the family's guest list. And the entertainment? Rihanna, performing her first full concert in years, barefoot on a custom stage. Then came the European cruise, shutting down parts of Italy and France. Then Justin Bieber, flown in for $10 million just to sing Baby while the Indian elite vibed in the front row. But the Ambanis are masters of optics. They understand that in a country with deep wealth disparity, you cannot just consume, you must serve. This leads us to the Bandara, Amid the billions spent, there were carefully curated moments of the family serving food to 51,000 villagers. It is a tradition as old as Indian kingship. The ruler feeds the subjects. It's a brilliant stroke of image management, blurring the line between corporate titan and benevolent monarch. However, when the party ends and the guests fly home, the reality of being the richest family in Asia sets in. Extreme wealth attracts extreme threats. You will never see Mukesh Ambani hailing a cab. You will never see him walking alone. When an Ambani moves through Mumbai, the city stops. This is the convoy. It is a rolling fortress of paramilitary precision. At the center is usually a Mercedes S600 Guard or a Rolls-Royce, bulletproof and bomb-proof. But it's what surrounds the car that is terrifying. Look at the footage. It's always the same. A fleet of white Range Rovers and MG Gloucesters, flashing lights blazing, sirens wailing. This is Z+ security, the highest level of protection the Indian government provides, paid for by the family. These aren't mall cops. These are commandos armed with Heckler & Koch submachine guns. When Anant Ambani goes shopping in Dubai, he rolls up in an orange Rolls-Royce Cullinan, flanked by a dozen SUVs. It looks less like a shopping trip and more like a head of state visiting a war zone. It is a visceral reminder that this money doesn't just buy comfort, it buys a private army. It is the hard power behind the soft silk of the wedding saris. At the center of this orbit is Nita Ambani. If Mukesh is the wallet, Nita is the curator. She understands the assignment better than anyone. She doesn't just wear jewelry, she wears geology. During the wedding festivities, she was spotted wearing an emerald necklace where the stones were the size of bars of soap. These aren't accessories, they are assets. But her role goes beyond fashion. She is the architect of the family's cultural influence. She launched the Nita Mukesh Ambani Cultural Center, a massive theater and art house that rivals Broadway. It was her way of telling the world that India isn't just a place to outsource labor, it is a place of high culture. And this is the final piece of the puzzle. The Ambanis have moved past the stage of buying things. They are now in the stage of building legacies. So, why are we so obsessed with them? Why do millions of people watch grainy footage of their cars and their parties? Because the Ambani family represents a return to an old world order. In the West, billionaires tried to look like us. They wear t-shirts. They talk about minimalism. They tried to be relatable. The Ambanis have zero interest in being relatable. They are the modern Maharajas. They control the internet you surf on, the oil that fuels your car, the plastic in your phone, and the cricket team you cheer for. They have shown us that in the 21st century, you don't need a crown to be a king. You just need a credit limit that doesn't exist.